Okay, my name is Marlene Ashman. My maiden name is Howard, and Dorothy Gay Howard is my sister. She was the Boulder Jane Doe. This is my grand-niece, Michelle Fowler. We are here, this is the first time we've been to the cemetery, and we are here in Boulder to have a memorial service for Dorothy Gay on Saturday. We will have a graveside service here.
And what's it like to finally have found out after all these years what happened?
Well, it's bittersweet is the best word. It's both happy news and sad news, because it's hard to realize that anybody dies like that, you know? And of course, we looked for her for years and years. I didn't know where she was for 56 years. So whenever Michelle made the connections, we looked at the bust that the forensic people did, and I told Michelle, no, I don't think that's her, because it doesn't look like her. And then Michelle said, well, look at the jawline. And I said, no, I still don't think that looks like her. So when she was in contact with Detective Ainsworth, he asked her if she thought I'd give a DNA sample, so I did. Our Polk County Sheriff's Office called me, and I went down to the Sheriff's Office and gave a DNA sample. And then we waited for a couple weeks, and when they came back on the 23rd of October 2009, and I found out that it was a match, I was absolutely, positively stunned. And I've been like in that state since.
Tell me what you remember about your sister. She was your older sister, right?
Yes, she was the oldest of 3 daughters. And to me, she was always grown up, because she was 4 years older than I am. And right now she would be 74, so that means I'm 70. Mm-hmm. Her grandmother, Michelle's grandmother, would have been 72 this year. Dot was always in charge. If we played cowboys, and we played cowboys a lot, she always got to be Gene Autry, and Bobby, my middle sister, got to be Roy Rogers, and I had to pick somebody else that I could think of, like the Durango Kid or Hopalong Cassidy. I never got to be one of the other ones. And I liked her. We used to race horses. Where we lived, we had 2 horses. One of them was an old, what I would call an old nag. It was a fat horse, and that's the one I had to ride. She rode the young gelding. So, and she always won. I never won a race. But yeah, I had fun. I had a wonderful childhood, and she was part of it. And I remember her very dearly in my childhood. But from the time I was 13, she was gone. Yeah. So all the growing up and everything was without her.
Yeah. And it's Michelle, right?
Yes.
So tell me briefly your story in this. You sort of mentioned it to Vanessa, but just repeat again what your part in all this was.
When I was really young, and I was over at my aunt's house a lot, there were always photos downstairs. And there was a photo album that had a lot of photos of Dot and my Aunt Marlene when she was little. And I just wondered who she was and what happened. And I mean, she was talked about, but it was always with a question mark at the end, you know. And so when I was 16, I asked my aunt's permission to start searching. And, you know, I started with the white pages and just called women who seemed, I did aliases, and, you know, I would just call random people and ask them if they were Dorothy Gay Howard and did they run away. And I wouldn't believe some of them, and so I'd ask more questions. And I mean, they were all very nice to me. And then a couple years ago, Simeon Stala, a friend of mine, told me about the Doe Network, where he was searching for his sister who's been missing. And I found the Boulder Jane Doe. You know, it did say that they thought it was Catherine Dyer, and I think that was something that held me back for a long time. The fact that the reconstruction had red hair, and that they thought it was Catherine Dyer made it hard for me to believe it really could be Dot. But once Catherine Dyer was found, I was pretty convinced that it was her.
And what does it mean to you to have this happen about a person that you never met?
Well, I think that our entire family has always been very close, and to know that there's somebody that's been missing from that, I just couldn't believe that that was by choice. And so to know that there's somebody that's missing from our family is a little bit heartbreaking, you know. But I think knowing that my aunt knows what happened now and that it's given her some sort of solace is what makes it all the more meaningful to me. And to know that Boulder has taken care of her all these years, I think,
It's awesome.
is the thing that's the biggest gift. That she hasn't been alone and she hasn't been forgotten. We just weren't able to find her until now, but Boulder has been filling in as family for us. It's awesome.